All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it over with. First off, to sports fans and Steeler Nation out there, if you don't want to hear the truth, honesty, and a little bit of cursing and foul language, don't even watch the video. Cut it off now. But just to address the Pittsburgh Steelers season this year and the past and where they're going forward. This is probably the biggest kick to the groin that I've ever experienced as a Steelers fan and a sports fan in general. Because we started the season with such promise and we were on such a hype train. Big Ben is coming back. We're after a debacle of a season with Mason and Duck, and with our defense back up to speed, we should be able to make a Super Bowl run. We start the season 11-0. Only to have an epic collapse in our last 5 to 6 games. It's just a damn shame. And as Steelers fans, it's time for us to be honest with ourselves. Like, we can't really... The thing is, like, there's some changes that have to be made. Now, I talked about this about 3 years ago, about people saying that Big Ben should be replaced. And I was like, well, I don't think so, because if you were already... I mean, for people who saying that we need to clean house and rebuild... And I was like, well, okay, that's fine, but just be prepared for us to suck for the next, 5 to 10 years. Because rebuilding a team from scratch, from the coaching staff to the quarterback to the O-line to the defense, that takes time. That takes years. You can't do that overnight. And a lot of Steelers fans, they do need to realize that. Now, the Steelers... They have gone on record as one of the most successful franchises in not only football history, but in sports history in general. The Steelers Nation and the Rooney family, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm proud to wear these colors. They are a very successful franchise. But the thing is, you guys got to understand, time is moving forward. The game is changing. The league is changing. The players are changing. The way the game is played is changing. We can't rely on the old ways forever. And I know that a lot of fans, like myself included, like, oh, well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they draft very well at the wide receiver position. We draft very well at the linebacker position. We draft running backs well. We're very, very well coached. Okay, I will give you that. Those are the positives. Those are the plus sides. And the thing is, like I said, we can't cling to the past forever. Like, oh, we're the first champion. We're the first team in NFL history to win 6 championships, to win 6 rings, to win 6 Lombardis. I mean, that's all fine and dandy. But in the sports world and in real life, nobody cares about what you did in the past. Nobody gives a damn about 20, 25, 30, 40 years ago. What have you done for me lately? And do y'all want to know what the Steelers have done for me lately? The Steelers Nation. Do y'all want to know what they've done for what the Steelers have done for the fans lately? Let's go down for the past decade as far as what they've done for us lately. All right, let's go. 2010, we make it to the big dance. We make it to the Super Bowl. Guess what? We come up short against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. 2011, wild card weekend in Denver, we get Tebowed. We lose to Tim Tebow's Broncos. 2012, 9-7, missed the playoffs altogether. 2013, same story. Missed the playoffs altogether. 2014, at Heinz Field, we lose in embarrassing fashion to Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens. We go one and done. 2015, we barely get past the Cincinnati Bengals just to lose to the Broncos led by Peyton Manning, which, they were going on a Super Bowl tear that year. I respect that. 2016, make it to the AFC Championship just to get our asses whooped by the New England Patriots and Tom Brady again. 2017, we secure a first round bye, but guess what? We get our asses humiliated and embarrassed to Blake Bortles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, mind you, that year they had a lights out defense. Jacksonville, aka Saxonville, was one of the top 5, maybe even top 3 defenses in the league that year. But for Blake Bortles to put up 45 points on our defense is inexcusable. 2018. We had a whole bunch of antics, a whole bunch of outside distractions, a whole bunch of BS going on with Le'Veon sitting out and Antonio Brown, acting a fool off the field. And there's a whole bunch of blame game going around the locker room between Mike Tomlin and Big Ben. Every time a loss happened, nobody wanted to take responsibility for it. There was a whole bunch of blame game going around. We finished that season, 9-7-1? 2019, Big Ben out with an elbow injury for the rest of the year. And we had to rely on Mason and Duck. And the only reason why we had the record we had is because our defense is playing lights out. That year, missed the playoffs altogether. 2020. We start the season 11-0. Just to completely piss the bed in the last 6 games of the season. Just for us to go one and done in humiliating fashion to a team who, for the better part of the decade, we've had their number. The Cleveland Browns. So if y'all want to know what the Steelers have done for us lately, that's what the hell they've done for us lately. A whole bunch of close but no cigar. A whole bunch of, ooh, you got to be quicker than that. You almost had it. A whole bunch of tripping and falling on our face at the damn finish line. That's what the Steelers have done for us lately. A whole bunch of goddamn disappointment. Now, like I said, the Steelers draft very well at the wide receiver position, the linebacker position, and at the running back position, which we might need to invest in. And as far as our season, like I said, I love James Conner to death, but he's not it. I don't know if we go with Benny Snell as our starter, which I believe that we should have done at the beginning of the season because James Conner is too injury prone. But what do you guys think? Should we bump Benny Snell up to being a starter, or do we draft a new running back? And and the thing is, I know there's certain things, and then, like, as far as Mike Tomlin, I know that there's certain things that you can't control as a coach. You can't control if the players drop passes. You can't control turnovers. You can't control injuries. I get that. But as Victor, what the hell do I even need to say about that? I think we are all in consensus that he's got to go. Now, like I said, there should be. Now, as far as Mike Tomlin, he is a great coach. He's top 3 coaches in the league. But like I said, we can't even. The thing is, he does have to make better decisions as coach. Does he deserve some of the blame? Absolutely. Because there are certain things that he can do to minimize it. As far as clock and time management and certain plays, there was a couple that we had an opportunity to get back into the game against the Cleveland Browns. Like that one 4th and 1 call. Mike Tomlin is a team. He's known for being one of the more ballsy coaches in the league. There was a 4th and 1 opportunity when they were up 35. I think the Steelers were only down 12 points. It was 35-23. It was 4th and 1 on the 55 yard line. He could have went for that, but no, he decided to punt. The thing is, normally he's known for throwing out some kind of fake punt. He's known for throwing some crazy trick play, especially when their back's against the wall. But the thing is, if you're down 12 and it's the middle of the third quarter, and it's the middle of the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth, and it's the playoffs, you're supposed to play all out, balls out. At that point, you're supposed to play like you have nothing to lose. Why not take the risk? The thing is, I know a lot of fans and, critics alike, myself included, want to criticize Mike Tomlin for taking unnecessary risks. But at that time in the postseason, that's one time where you're supposed to take that risk. Especially when all the damn momentum is on your side. So what do you do? Now, the main event, what I really want to discuss here. Big Ben Roethlisberger. Oh, boy. I think his time is done. I thought that this year was going to be his turnaround because Big Ben, he looked to this season with a lot of problems. He said, well, I don't feel any pain in my arm. I'm completely over my injury. And, well, I feel good this year. And like I said, a couple of our losses, a couple of our wins this year were questionable, some of those wins that we scraped out, and because the thing is, we were criticized for being frauds, the Steelers are frauds, they're going to get exposed in the postseason, they're going to go one and done, that 11-0 record is going to be hollow. And the thing is, a lot of the critics and stuff like that were right. It was. I mean, the thing is, being good enough just to get to the postseason doesn't mean a damn thing if you go one and done. It really doesn't. And the Steelers the Steelers, Alex. The thing is, it hurts me to say this because I've been a Steelers fan for 22 years, and it hurts when you got to hear the truth. But as far as Big Ben Roethlisberger, what do we do? I mean, because he wants to come back next year. He only has one more year on his contract, but a lot of people feel like that he should retire now. One, for the salary cap space. Two, so he doesn't get injured again. And three, just to save what little reputation he has left. Because you don't want to go out in an embarrassing and humiliating fashion. You don't want to go out like that. I understand Big Ben's got a lot of pride. He's a warrior, and he's battle-tested. Hell, he's probably the only quarterback that I could think of who is just as tough or tougher than him in recent memory in the last, from the 90s on up, is probably Brett Favre, who is probably one of my top 10, if not top 5 quarterbacks of all time, despite me being a Steelers fan. But what do we do? I mean, quarterbacks are not really easy to come by, especially elite quarterbacks. I mean, I don't trust Mason going forward. We have not really seen what Josh Dobbs can do, and Duck is good for Duck is a situational quarterback. But he's not a franchise type of quarterback. He's not a quarterback who you want to get. If you want to get to a Super Bowl, Duck is not who you want. I mean, sure, you can get him more reps, you can get him more playing time, you can get him more experience, but elite franchise quarterbacks really are hard to come by. You really do only get a franchise quarterback like once every 5 or 10 years. Now, our defense. The Steelers are known for having a legendary smack you in your mouth type of defense, especially when it comes to our front seven, our linebacker core, and our front line. And the thing is, they did their job for the most part. T.J. Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. Cameron Hayward, Mr. Reliable. Stephon Tuitt, he might be injury prone, but still, he does his job when he's on the field and healthy. Our secondary hasn't really been scared. The thing is, Joe Hayden out with COVID, and Minka Fitzpatrick was a hell of a pickup, but I mean, even he can't do it all. Our defense hasn't really struck fear into somebody's heart since the Ryan Clark, Ike Taylor, Troy Polamalu days. That was the mid to late 2000s. That was the last time that our secondary really struck fear into the heart. People were scared to throw down the field on us because of our secondary. Now, nobody's scared to throw 20, 30 yards deep on us, because one reason why is because they can pick on our weak guys in our secondary. And two, a lot of our corners and safeties, like Mike Hilton, stuff like that, a lot of those guys, they blitz to help out the line. They blitz to help out our linebackers, which in some situations help. But the thing is, when other teams study game tape against us, they can pick out our weaknesses. They can exploit our mistakes. And that's what happened in our last 6 games, is that they exploited the mistakes that we made in the first 10 or 11 games of the season, despite our record. So, yeah. And the thing is, at the running back position, we had depth. Like I said, I love James Conner, but he's not our star. I think he's got to go next year. Bud Dupree, he's 50-50. I would love to have him back, but like I said, with salary cap and with the draft coming up, we'll see. And let's see. That's about it. The thing is, with the draft coming up and with the salary, we can't keep everyone. But it's just a shame that we went out the way we did. But we're gonna see where we're going forward in this year. A lot of people saying that we should just take 2021. We should take 2021 off and just tank, so that way we can get a higher draft pick. That's the curse of doing that well in the regular season, is you go up higher in the draft. And sure, there are some gems in the draft as far as running backs and wide receivers and stuff like that. There was a lot of, look at Antonio Brown. He was a 6th round draft pick. Now he's one of the best wide receivers in the league and has been from 2015 to now. And it's just a damn shame how a lot of people were saying that, Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown are cancers. They're locker room cancers. They're a distraction. But everyone's like, well, we didn't win anything with them, so now that the cancer is gone, now that the distractions are gone, we should have a shot at the playoffs. We should have a shot at the Super Bowl, right? I think You can't. That's why despite what goes on in the locker room, despite what goes on outside, you can't really put the blame of a team all on one or two people. It's a team effort. That's why it's called a football team. Blame goes around equally. And sure, we have kind of. I mean, there's some times where we've kind of been screwed over by bad officiating and ref calls. And like I said, injury is something you really can't control. But like most of that stuff on the field, as far as making plays and turnovers, like you can't make mistakes like that and expect to go anywhere far. And as much as I hate to say it, even though we lost to the Cleveland Browns and we've had their number for the better part of the decade, I think that we needed this loss. We needed a kick in the teeth to finally wake us up to realize that change needs to happen. And sure, we might have a losing record. We might have like 3 or 4 years where we go 7-9, 6-10, 9-7, 8-8. But the thing is, like, in order for us to get back to that, I mean, I'm pretty sure I speak for everybody who is a Steelers fan that we're sick of tripping at the finish line. We're sick of getting just that close only to have it snatched away from us in the end. Because that's what's happened for us from 2010 to now. That's what's happened to us. But anyway, guys, that's all I got to say. I really could run my mouth about this more. But I'm a diehard Steelers fan through and through, despite how bad that they disappointed me, not only this year, but in the last decade. Like I said, I've been a Steelers fan for 22 years, and I'm not going to jump ship. And that's another toxic thing about the fan base, is if you tell the truth, a lot of fans will accuse you of not being a real fan. That's the thing about being a real fan, is that we can be honest. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the playoffs. And Steeler Nation, we'll be back next year. Peace out.